this meeting, so I'm going to begin. Okay, welcome everyone. Parish Council Government remind about audio visual recording. Parish Council meeting may be audio recorded under the Openness of Local Government Regulations 2014. Devices are to be placed on the table provided throughout the meeting. So just to confirm, sure you're recording the meeting, are you? And we're recording it as Parish Council's recording it as well.
No, that means turn it off, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So, do we have any apologies?
So we have Councillor Bell, Councillor Susan Sherry, she's running late, she's hoping to be here soon.
Okay.
And we haven't heard from Councillor Maiden, but she was on holiday for the last meeting, so I don't know, maybe her dates have just gone out of sync.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And so do we approve those?
Yeah.
John Bell and his declarations of interest. Does anyone, I'm not going to read through all this, does anyone have any declarations of interest on any items on the agenda?
No.
No. And do you have any written requests for dispensation? No. So we're on to item 4. To note the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee held on 22nd of November 2023. These have already been to the Parish Council, so we're ready to go. We'd like to approve them. Okay? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 5. To receive and approve a quotation from Wakefield Council for the grounds maintenance contract extension to run from March 2024 to March 2025. And there's a paper there, there's a note on the paper. So do you just want to give a very brief background, Jenna, on this?
Yes, please. So in the supporting documents, it is the meeting minute from last year. So that's just in there so you can link the two together. Due to time frame, I'm asking for us to extend again on the quote that's in the paperwork. It has gone up roughly, it's just over 3% it's gone up by. So last year's quote came in at £6,851 excluding VAT, and as you can see from the paperwork it's gone up to £7,038.53. As the last meeting minute said that we reviewed in March 2024, it's not allowed for implementation time. We was to move to another vendor to be able to set it up in time for the grass cutting contract, which actually has to start in March. So we've left ourselves too short. So what I would ask is an extension with Wakefield Council based on reasonable 3% increase, and that we would review it later this year, ready for March 2025.
Okay, is that, have you all discussed anything on that, Rick? Okay, thanks Martin. And are we happy to accept that?
So it's a first and second, so I'll down, yeah.
Okay. That's everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, next item. To consider the draft budget proposals for 2024-25 and to make recommendations for approval at the Parish Council meeting to be held on the 5th of February 2024. So we've got budget sheets here. Have you got some more? You've got some more information.
I have, if that's okay, Chair. Yeah. Do you mind if I just give a quick overview? Is that okay, Chair?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So within your packs, councillors, you had these A3 sheets that I put together. It is a live document, so I have been working on this progressively every day. So I do have a latest copy for you here. What I've also done as well is attach an information sheet to help with this evening's review and recommendations for council. So I could just pass you these copies. They are exactly the same document, the A3 document. And the only figure that's changed, because I had some new quotes that came in, are the ones that I've marked in yellow, and that was the Realtus software that we use. That is the final quote included in there now, so that's the only change, and I've just documented that in the notes so you can see the change. obviously because there has been a slight increase to that column, it has then increased the total at the end, so that's a given because obviously it's a calculation. And then what I would just like to do very quickly is give you a top level overview of how this information has been produced, and then obviously pass it back over to you guys for discussion.
Okay.
So I'm really conscious that I want to stay on task with tonight's agenda item, which is about the new budget. But to give you a little bit of a background, we are working towards deadlines, which is why it's come to this committee meeting. So the committee tonight is to review and give their recommendations, and it will go to the full council on the 5th of February, in line then with the precept submission deadline, which is the 7th of February. So that's what we're working towards. Again, I've just noted it down, so sorry if I'm reading from a script, it's just to stay on track. So what I have done this year is I've prepared this information in 3 parts. What I've referred to as a start, a middle and an end. So my starting point on this was to look at the current budget and to project from year to date what we would estimate to spend up until March 24 to get myself a first starting point. I asked all councillors for submissions for the new budget, any ideas, any knowledge that they have around that. And I have also met with chairs to review the current budget year to date, to make sure that I haven't overlooked anything and any considerations that I need to be aware of for the coming budget forecast. Then I would refer to what is a middle point. So what I have then done is, with the spreadsheet that I've provided to you,
Just started to going the Jen was introducing the budget sheets. That's where they are.
Yeah, and I'll just give you that summary. I've just explained at the beginning that this document is a fluid document, so any changes, because I've been working on it every day,
Yes.
are just noted on there. There's one change from the document that you received, and that's in yellow, and that's because I've had the final realtus quote coming. So if when obviously I finish in a moment, if there's any questions that you missed at the beginning, just let me know. So 3 parts, so I've told you how I've got to the starting point. The middle point then is this spreadsheet. So the considerations that I've had whilst working on this spreadsheet are any potential staffing changes, any pay increases from a government scale point for 2024. The RFO accounting services as we continue with that. I've also considered any software packages that we've said that we're going to start as of April 2024 onwards to do with Realtus and ProLogic. Anything that is a service-based, so utilities, grounds maintenance, I've added a 3% inflation because we're seeing with the new quotes that are coming in, on average they're between 3–3.5% for the inflation. And then what I've also done is a budget structure clean-up, what I'm referring to as a clean-up. So I've looked at some headers where they go across multiple cost centres, and for April 2024 I'll be looking to centralise some of those areas so it's a lot easier to understand moving forward. And then my final step is I have popped together a bit more information for you to have a discussion today. So I've added some information about general reserves, potential earmarking that you may want to consider to recommend, and the precept, so what it currently is at, what we can request with no changes to residents, and then a chart that basically explains from 0% all the way up to the maximum 5% if we were to request what that would look like in a chart form. And that's it. So I'm happy to answer any questions as we go, but I am very conscious of time, so I would just ask that we stay relevant to the agenda item.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. So we have these spreadsheets here, and as Jen has explained, you know what they are. The way I'm proposing to deal with this is that we just, I'm not proposing to go down line by line on the budget, but just sort of do section by section. If anyone has any things they would like to be clarified, any queries, then you can raise them as we go down the sheets. What I'm not going to, what I'm probably we don't go through is lots of detail about why, the figures are as they are, sort of, changes maybe from one year to the next. It's been explained that the figures in the 24-25 budget, the forecast, are based, as well as Jem has been able to, on knowledge that she has, that we have, and including a figure for 3% inflation. And I think perhaps, I know Susie, because Gemma and I talked about this today, you submitted some questions, didn't you? So I think if we take them, do they relate particularly to sections in here? Or
there's a few overall questions. It's just Susie, I didn't know you'd make it in time, so I printed them, but I've not had a chance to fully look at them to respond. Did you want to ask them yourself? Or?
No, they were things that when I looked through, I would have liked a bit more information on,
Yeah.
but it's not something that needed to happen today.
Oh, right, okay.
all right, okay, okay.
Because I understand that it's a working document.
Yeah.
Because there's a few weeks until the main meeting yet, and it's more understanding things like perhaps the loan and what's left and those kind of things as well. Yeah.
Okay. So if as we go through you feel that any of the questions that you've sent it to Gemma that you'd like to ask them now, then please do.
Can I ask a couple of possibly very stupid and very basic questions?
Please ask them.
Okay, so what's the precept?
So I didn't know that even until I started working Parish Council. So you pay your council tax,
Yes.
and the precept is the money that we collect as the Parish Council.
Okay. And when you
Sorry,
go,
can I just say,
Yeah.
we get it, it's paid to Wakefield Council, and then it's paid back to the parish.
So
from
would
Wakefield.
different parish councils get different amounts of the
Yes.
precept? Okay. And when it says 24-25 total average per household on your proposed precept information,
Yeah.
is that amount it would cost the household per year?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Yes, based on average. The way that Wakefield Council calculate it is on an average of band D.
Yeah.
So although you have multiple bands, it's paid based
Yeah,
on band
that's
D.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
okay.
okay, thanks. So, the point we want to get to by the time to the end of this discussion is to have agreement on the budget that we are going to recommend to the full parish council for approval, which may be this one, it may be the one I set out here, it may be a different one depending on what people propose, but this budget as prepared by Gemma is on, well, I think if you can just explain, Gemma, the difference why it's 215786 last year and 21615 this year.
Yeah.
Where's that figure come from?
So the new budget for this year, 216150, is if we were to ask for no change to residents. So there's been some boundary changes over the past year, and there's been a slight growth. So that's the maximum amount that we could ask for with no change to households, like the council have said.
Thank you. Yeah, so this budget is based on a no increase in precept. Okay, so let's go through it sort of section by section, and I'm assuming that people have looked at it, and if you want anything clarified, then do it as we go around. I'm going to move fairly quickly, unless you speak up and stop me. So 100 is precept, 101 administration, going down to, so that's quite a long one. Okay. 102 civic expenses. Village events. Oh, so perhaps we need to say as well, Gemma, that some of the, and then it is somewhere in a bit of narrative, perhaps it's just in things that you and I have talked about, or is it in another one? Oh no, it's on the second side of the this paper that's attached there, is that this budget as prepared assumes or recommends or is based on some items, some issues, some projects being paid from reserves, and so are not those. So those things listed there are not included on these budget sheets here, because we've got a lot of money in reserves, and these are these are sort of what I would say is capital spending, one-off kind of things, not ongoing expenditure.
It's just that side that's on there, the other one, it's just the opposite side.
Okay, so where did I get to? 103. Oh, sorry, I was reminded that I coming down to looking at village events and gala costs.
Can I just chip
Sure,
in? Because
yeah.
obviously one of the things that I sort of like had a discussions with Gemma about in the office, and like people might know that there is a reduction in the cost, for example, with the Christmas lights, and that's because I think it was such a huge cost. I think for what personally, I mean, this is my opinion, I think I've certainly experienced other opinions saying the same thing. What we're getting necessarily from the current arrangement is not worth the money value that we're paying, and so I've asked for it to be reduced and for us to look at other sources, to sort of like provide us with some lights and look at more having focal points in the village rather than having like a vast array of display, which I don't think was very effective, and it wasn't the best standard, and I think it's about outsourcing it and looking at other options as well.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
that's what it is.
that accounts for that explains the reduction. It's on line 4301.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then moving down, item 110, the van. Turn over to section 200, Cambridge playing field.
Do we not actually get much in pitch fees?
It's my opinion to that chair,
Or next year, sorry.
pitch fees.
Sorry?
My okay to answer to this
Yes,
question?
yes, sure. Yeah.
So we looked at the pitch fees a couple of months back on an FMGP, and we said we'd review the pitch fee prices for April. At the time we'd agreed the £100 charge that's been in place for quite a few years, and there's only 3 main clubs, and this financial year, the current one, we've only had 2 clubs playing, which is why for Carbridge, getting confused, Carbridge, it's quite a low income, and the room size isn't great for hiring, it's quite small. So we don't see a huge income stream from that particular site. It might be something to look at in the future.
Can I just ask, because I've sort of lost track of where we are with it, do we still operate, because at one point we said that training for the youth teams, we wouldn't charge for that. Is that still the case? We just charge for matches?
So yes,
Yeah.
matches
Yeah.
and the use of the toilet and things like that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So moving on, 201 Bracknell playing field. Again, there's no income from that because it's not used by anybody in the village who pays fees for it. 202 Ackworth playing field. And again, no income there. Though of course it's a village amenity that the Parish Council provides, amenity for everybody in the village, so that's its value. 203 Pavilion. 300 Parish Council Community Centre. We do get income from that, from this building. Um, 301 Brackenhill Community Centre. If I'm going too fast, tell me to slow down. Ackworth Community Centre, mothballed at the moment. 304 Ackworth Quarries. This is one of the things, if you look at the paper we were just talking about, this one, that is recommended, since we don't know when, we don't know when we're going to get it, when it's going to be operational. We've got nothing to base what any costs might be. So the proposal for this year, for this budget, is that set-up costs come from reserves, and then if we get income through the year, that'll be a bonus. Yes,
just a quick note, it should be added that we did ask for running costs, because obviously Strata are there, sort of like, but they haven't provided any, so it's difficult. We've got no base to work from.
Chair, it isn't worth putting.
Sorry.
It isn't worth putting, say, a provision in similar